Greetings, students. Hi, this is Satyaki Chakraborty from Indraprastha Law College, Greater Noida, and today's topic for the day is Consumer Protection and Competition Law of India. Topic: State and National Consumer Redressal Agencies. Students, in the last class, we have already discussed about the District Consumer Dispute Redressal Forums or agencies, and in this very class, we will be discussing about State Consumer Dispute Redressal Agencies and the National Consumer Dispute Redressal Forums or agencies. Students, if the individual is not satisfied with the verdict of the district forum, then within a period of 30 days, the aggrieved party can approach SCDRC. So, if there is an aggrieved party who is not satisfied with the verdict given by the district forum, they may approach the State Consumer Dispute Forum, but that would be within the period of 30 days. If a verdict has been given against the company, it can appeal only after depositing 50% of the compensation that is to be paid to the consumer, and that amount ranges to 25,000, whichever is less. And the state forum is presided by or the person who is or has been a High Court judge itself. Now let us look at the composition of the state forum. The composition of members, the criteria for disqualification and tenure of the SCDRC remains the same as the District Consumer Forum, except that more than 50% of the member shall be amongst the person who hails from a judicial or legal background, or that is, having a proper knowledge and experience for at least 10 years as a presiding officer at the district itself. Secondly, level court or any tribunal or equivalent level, the SRTC deals with the complaints where the compensation sought is between rupees 20 lakhs and rupees 1 crore. The court can hear cases for companies that either operates an office or branch within the district limits, or the grievances occurred either partially or fully within the state. Now let us look at the function of the state forum. The SCDRC usually hears cases of three types. Number one, appeals from District Consumer Forum. Secondly, cases against the companies that operates either in office or branch within the state. Thirdly, cases where the actual reason for filing the complaint occurred within the state, either partially or full. Now let us take a peek at the National Forum. If the individual is not satisfied with the verdict of SCDRC, then within a period of 30 days, the aggrieved party can approach the NCDRC. So students, please know, this is like a compartmentalized zone. First comes the district, then the state, and thirdly, it tends to come National Forum. So if any aggrieved party is not satisfied with the verdict of the district forum, they tend to approach or appeal the state forum. And if the aggrieved party is not satisfied with the state forum, then they might approach the NCDRC. But the period of duration that they should appeal is a minimum stipulated period within that 30 days itself. If a verdict has been given against the company, it can appeal only after depositing 50% of the compensation which is to be paid to the consumer, or rupees 35,000, whichever is less. It was constituted in the year 1988. Now let us look at the composition. It functions in Delhi and is headed by a person who is or has been a Supreme Court judge appointed by the central government. The appointment has to be made after consultation with the Chief Justice of India. The NCDRC has a minimum of 4 members and is appointed by a committee chaired by the Supreme Court judge as recommended by Chief Justice of India. The tenure of the member is for a period of 5 years or up to the age of 75 years, whichever is earlier. Now let us look at the function of the National Forum. The NCDRC deals with the complaints where the compensation sought is above 1 crore. So since it is a national forum, the amount that they are dealing with is a hefty one, which is 1 crore. It handles 5 types of cases, that are complaints that have been either been sought or that need to be shifted from one state consumer to another in the interest of justice. Secondly, appeals made from the state consumer court. Thirdly, complaints that occurred anywhere in India except in the state of Jammu and Kashmir. SCDRC cases where there have been allegations of proof of material irregularities or any other illegal activities. So if there is any irregular activities in any of the cases or any allegations which have cropped up, that might come under the verdict of the National Forum, which has a more higher authority in compared to the SCDRC. Cases where verdicts have been passed in absence of either party, ex parte, have to be set aside too. Now let us look at the role of the consumer redressal dispute agencies. In order to help achieve the objects of Consumer Protection Act 1986, the National Commission has also been conferred with the powers of administrative control over all the state commission by calling the periodical return regarding the institution, disposal and pending cases. The National Commission is empowered to issue instruction regarding number 1, adoption of uniform procedure in the hearing of matters. Secondly, prior services of copies of documents produced by one party to the opposite party. Thirdly, generally overseeing the function of state commission and district forum to ensure that the object and the purposes of act are best served without interfering with the quasi-judicial freedom itself. Thirdly, a consumer cannot file a complaint in a consumer court if 2 years have elapsed over the cause of action. If the aggrieved party is not satisfied the verdict of NCDRC, they can approach the Supreme Court within the period of 30 days. So, already we have discussed regarding the hierarchy of the system of the forums. First comes from the lower level, the district forum, then comes the state forum, then the NCDRC, and the aggrieved party not being satisfied from the district may approach the state, and then from the state they may approach the national, and finally if anybody is not satisfied with the verdict of the NCDRC, they can approach the Supreme Court, and the stipulated time in which they should approach is 30 days itself. Lastly, if a verdict has been given against the company, it can appeal only after depositing 50% of the compensation to be paid to the consumer of rupees 50,000, whichever is less or sought to. So students, this is all about the state and the national consumer dispute redressal agencies of forum itself. So we have already covered this district in the previous classes, and on this class we just discussed about the composition, the function and the body and the provisions of the state and the national consumer dispute redressal agencies of forums itself. Thank you class.